Welcome in, my girls. Welcome in another walking session. So go out, take your walk, go to the gym, do whatever it is you do. I'm on the treadmill. I'm determined. Whenever I try to get on the treadmill, I get out of breath, but I'm determined to do this. So welcome in. Today's topic is dating married men. Dating married men. I know some of you are listening. Unfortunately, there's a huge number of women who have been in these circumstances. So these are stories based on my experience, other people's experience who've either told me or that I've observed, things that I've seen. Why we are what's the word? We are trying to give deniability. So in this case, I wouldn't say whose experience. There you go. The thing with married men is that even if you haven't dated a married man, you have been propositioned, more likely than not. You've been propositioned by a married man. You have had conversations with a married man where he might have been taking a lot of, what do you call it? Power. Not power. I mean, for you, it's just a conversation, but for him, he's getting so much goodness from your femininity, from your feminine energy, that you don't really realize this. So let's just unpack all this. Dating married men. There's nothing wrong with married men, but it's just in the dating scene, dating a married man really serves no purpose. It is not a positive, it is an absolute negative. It is removing from you. Yes. So let's get into it. So married men are committed in the chase. It is really, really, and especially, I mean, I put this more, my focus is Kenya, the Kenyan perspective, and I'm sure it happens across the globe. But that is my focus, looking at it from a Kenyan lens. And I mean, I remember there are all these conversations, and we laugh about it. Valentine's Day is the day you realize that the man you've been dating is married. Because that's the day he's in a committed relationship. Because that's the day suddenly he doesn't show up. Other than that, he's always there, you know. He's absolutely committed to you. He treats you like a queen. You're thinking that this is the best thing that has ever happened to you. And then on Valentine's Day, you realize, kumbe. This guy you've been dating is not your guy. These things are very difficult to deal with. And let's start there, because that's in the commitment to chasing you. There are some who'll tell you they're married and there are some who won't. I remember attending it wasn't really the bachelor party, but it was like a party for a guy who was getting married. Sorry. My voice is not completely back, so I don't really have a cough. I'm in that area. I had a cold. The cold is done. So I have a bit of a cough. The voice is not completely back, but we must live. We must live. So I went for this party for this guy, and he was saying that he was keeping his bachelor pad. And I, in my innocence, did not understand why. I couldn't fathom what he needed a house for. I was younger. So what he needed the house for, I shall spell it out for you, is because he wanted to continue playing the market as if he were single. So he's married. He had, even now, he has a daughter. I believe they separated, because this was many years ago. So at the point when he was getting married, he was just arranging for the marriage, he's decided, that he shall keep the apartment that he used to live in when he was alone. What they do is they furnish it as if he was single. You know, so there are no pictures of any girls, nothing like that. When you're doing your detective, which is really unfortunate, but it's one of the things we need to do as girls in Nairobi in Kenya. When you're dating somebody and you're at the point when you go to his house, to some extent you're looking around to see if there's evidence of anyone else. Because yes, he's told you he's single, but is he? And that's the thing, some men lie, like this guy that I'm talking about. Happily married, he had some cash. So he's set up his family in one house, and then he has this pad where he just keeps bringing girls back. The girls are dating him, and then that's probably when, around Valentine's, when you realize that suddenly he's not available. These guys who can't pick up your calls. But anyway, I don't want to focus too much on the single guy, on the married guys who we don't know are married. I want to focus more on the guy you know is married. So how does it start? More often than not, it will be a relationship that starts in conversation. Slick. These guys can be slick. It's just conversation. He'll tell you very upfront that he's married. And it's just conversation. Then maybe he'll tell you about the miseries of his marriage, or he'll actually tell you that it's a happy marriage. So some of them can be really across the board, but then they let you know that they're available, married but available. Quite unfortunate, but they let you know that you're available. And maybe when you're starting off, you have no intention of doing anything. You're thinking, he's married, that's not my thing. Let's have conversation. Then he starts lavishing you with a bit of attention that you haven't been getting anywhere else. You've been playing this dating market, and the guys that you've been attracting, or the guys that have been in your life, have not been treating you nicely. Then there's this guy now, he's married, but he treats you so well. He treats you so well, he listens to you, he does whatever it is that you've always wanted done for you. You feel special, you feel loved. And before you know it, you who had no intention of ever dating anyone who's married are starting to get feelings for this guy. And the story goes on and on. Before you know it, it might get intimate, it might not, but there's a connection that has been formed there that is beyond what should ideally be comfortable of having with someone who's married. Why? Because he's not yours. He belongs to someone else. And he probably doesn't even deny it. Yeah? So if we dig a little, if we take one layer off of what's happening, it's that, and I'll give you a good example, actually. I have this example there's a guy I worked for many, many years ago. I worked for him very shortly. But listening to him, he turned out to be quite a sleaze. I don't know if I've spoken about him before on this podcast. But what he explained to me he does is that he was a lawyer. He had his own law firm. It was a one-man show. It was doing quite well. So at the time, I think I was just coming out of law school, if I'm not wrong. And he then had been in practice for at least 20 years or more. So that is the age set. And I was too old for him. I'm just coming out of law school, I'm too old for him. His interest was in girls who are 18, 19. 18, 19. And what he said he'd do is that, because at that age, an 18, 19-year-old girl, he said that the boyfriends that they have, the best that those guys can do is take them to the movies or something like that. So what he does is he'll take these girls and fly them to Dubai, fly them to the Seychelles, fly them to London, take them on a shopping spree. And he actually explained to me what he was doing. He said that what he was doing was making it incompatible for these girls to date their age mates. To some extent, he was ruining them. He was ruining them because if the best you can get is an ice cream date with someone your age, because let's face it, 18, 19, we don't have money. Where are the guys or the girls even? Where is anyone getting money at 18, 19? So you're, a walk in the park is what you can get from your age mates. Yet this guy is flying you over to the Seychelles. It changes your level of satisfaction. So the reason I'm saying it's ruining you is that even though there's nothing wrong with that, it is difficult within the Kenyan setting anyway to find someone at that age, a guy at 18, who can take you to the Seychelles. If he's doing that, it's because he comes from a rich background and their family, can afford to give him the money to do that. Excuse me. So instead of just being happy with getting to have a conversation with someone, he said that once he would fly them, then they become like his, because where else are they getting that kind of attention? So this is, and of course he was married. So take that at another level to be the interaction that these married men will have with you. Whether or not they're taking you to the Seychelles, again, this attention that you're getting something that you're not used to. And incidentally, this is not just for single girls. Married women are dated by married men. It's a thing. So I'm talking to everyone. I'm talking to all women. I'm talking to all women because it's possible. We call them the office crush. So you have this office crush. There's this guy who's married, and in the office, he's the one who just treats you nicely. And it's interesting that it's this very basic thing. It is this nice treatment that is luring us in. And the question is why? Why are we so unused to being treated nicely? And I'll get into that. I'll get into that in the next point. I'm just looking at my notes here. I wrote a couple of notes. So, the next point is that you don't think that you can do better. So, again, let's go on with our story. He started talking to you nicely. He started treating you nicely, giving you attention, listening to your problems. And before you know it, you have this emotional connection to him. So maybe you're going out, you're having a drink, you're having a meal, you're engaging more than you engage with other people. Let's start there. And maybe what you've started doing is that you're not dating anymore as such, because you're getting this emotional fulfillment from this man who's married. Yeah? And it goes, I won't paint you the picture, but this is what leads to the bedroom. Because especially for women, it is that when you have that connection and you're feeling so close, before you know it, there you are. You're the one having an affair and asking yourself, what the hell happened? How did we end up here? Yeah. So the point was you don't think that you can do better. So you have been dating, you have been in this field. The guys who've been turning up have been useless. I know those guys who even you ask yourself why is this what the universe is fishing up for me? Yeah? So then now you have this guy, he treats you nicely, he seems a little safe. Then you start thinking that maybe this is what I deserve. Maybe this is what is there for me. And maybe you say, I have the next point here, you allow it for now. For now, you think, it's okay, or I'm in control. That's the other one. I'm in control. It won't get any worse than this. I know what's happening. And we all know the story. You know what's happening, then one day maybe you've gone out for a drink, you have one too many. Or one day something has happened emotionally, he's really there for you. Yeah. It's sticky and yucky to be in that set of circumstances. But I'm just trying to paint out the picture that it's not something that you will just start off immediately saying, this is what I want to do. More often than not, it's a slippery slope. And I want to get into the thinking, the mechanics of it. And unfortunately, one of them is a lack of self-love. The mechanics of how you end up in a relationship with a married man, part of it is your view of yourself, how you see yourself. Like when we said that the dating market hasn't been providing anything better. These are pointers that should make us see if everyone you've been dating has had a kasoro, there's been something wrong with everyone you've ever dated. Truly, 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 verily I say unto you, that's a Bible quote, that you are the common denominator. You are the common denominator. That means that you need to look at yourself. Why is it that you have been calling into your life people who are of a certain caliber? And this one I can tell you from my own experience. I believe I discussed this in the book, Date Like Cleopatra, The Good Girl Flips the Script. This notion of, this is where I've put myself. And you can put it in terms of the bad boy experience. The bad boy experience is I am attracted to the bad boys. When there's I'm just giving this as an example, but it has happened to my life. When there's a good guy, you either don't notice him, or he's boring, or things like that happen. And it's difficult to have that perspective unless you go back and look at these people you've dated. I tell you, take a sheet of paper. There is no shortcut. Or take an Excel sheet. In fact, that's what I did once. Take an Excel sheet, take a book, anything that you can destroy. Maybe the book is better, the Excel sheet, maybe it will keep a record. Write down everyone you've ever dated. From the first guy, if your first guy you dated was in primary school, write just down the list of these people that you've dated. Then look at their good things. What was it that was good about them? Yeah? And why did you date them? What attracted you to them? What were the good things about them? All. I mean anyone who you've even gone on a date with. I don't mean, it doesn't have to, if you went on one date with this person, write them down. See, what is it that attracted you to them? What was good about them? Then, what was bad about them? Why did you break up? What happened? Yeah, write it down. Write it down. Then, write down in another column, what did you learn from that relationship? About yourself. About you. What did that experience teach you about you? Was there any growth? Did you learn from one to the next? And most importantly, see a pattern. When you have a list of, I don't want to tell you how many. Let's take 10. When you have a list of 10 guys, there was John, there was Mark, there was whoever, write down all their names. I mean, do exactly what we've said. Then now try to see the pattern in these relationships. What are they showing you about you? And how did you show up? How do I put this? How did you... Were you crazy? You know these relationships that make you go crazy. Were you the one who was on phone constantly trying to follow them up and ask them, where are you? What are you doing? Who are you with? Were you insanely jealous? Right? Put down a column. Right? How did you show up in the relationship? Maybe if you could not be you, if you were a third party looking into it, ask yourself what he thought about you in that relationship. If you can, if you're in a situation to, you could ask him. You could give him a call. Depending, of course, on how things turned out, you could give him a call and ask him what his experience was, what his experience of you was in that relationship. And this is data, this is raw information that is helping you understand why, what did we say? You don't think you can do better. Why the people who are showing up in your life are less than stellar. Yes, even though you're the common denominator, unless you're learning from the past experiences, you're going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. Because that's what happens. There's something that you need to learn. And unless you can see it and learn it, you shall be repeating this pattern. That's why it's a pattern. So look back, do this exercise that I've just given you, and that will help you see, that will help you uncover what it is. And it might be that you are the one who's constantly, in fact, avoidant. That is one of the other points. You don't actually want to be in a relationship, but you don't know. These things that are in our heads are complex, but important. You might find that from the list of people that you have, all of them were unavailable. All of them were married. Why are you only dating married men? Why are you only dating unavailable men? Why are you dating mean men? It could be that you're always in a pattern of toxicity. The most important thing, don't berate yourself, don't be hard on yourself. The most important thing is to see it. Because once you see it, you can start working on it. You can start an improvement plan. But you have to see it yourself first. Whoa, okay. I had an almost accident with the camera. That was my cat that was going on my setup. But luckily he changed his mind. Okay. So self-love. This activity that I'm giving you is helping you look into yourself. We call this inner work. Inner work is work that you are doing for yourself internally to understand how you show up, why you're showing up the way you show up, what is making you tick. And it is once you do this kind of work, and we have a lot of it in the book, Date Like Cleopatra, The Good Girl Flips the Script. These exercises help you understand how you're showing up. And it's, again, as I always say, we need to see. If we don't see, we can't improve. Okay, I've belabored that point a little too much, yeah? But anyway, do that one. I did it myself, and it was mind-blowing. It made me see. It actually helped me realize something about myself that I had no idea about. For me, it was my attachment style, that I was anxious avoidant. I didn't know. Me, I'm thinking I'm a superstar. And we probably all do. We don't often take that much time to think about how we are showing up. So, superstar, everything is great, I'm wonderful. So it takes a bit of courage to look at yourself and understand the areas that can be improved. I'll put it that way. Yeah? Okay. The thing with married men is the time wasting. So when you've said that we'll allow it for now, and this is not only for married men, it's any kind of relationship that you're in that you don't expect to be, that is not for you. You know when you started that, no, this is not it. I remember I had a conversation with a girl once in Sweden, I believe. It was, either way, it was outside Kenya. She's a Kenyan who was living outside of Kenya. And then we were talking about dating. And she said to me that she always has to have a guy. She had some guy, she was dating some guy, even though he was not her expectation of her man. He was below par. And then when I asked her why, she said, because you can't just stay like that. And I thought about it. In fact, I've thought about it for long. Because at the time when she said that, I thought that she was probably right. But there was something in my system that nibbled at me and said, no, that's probably not okay for me. And that thing that nibbled at me was this. When you allow something that is less than what you deserve, let's even take food, my best examples. If you're eating food that is, according to you, not your standard, you either don't like it or it's not as healthy as you'd want it to be, or there's just something about it that is, you understand within yourself is substandard. What are you teaching yourself? We said that we have many parts. Think of you as, I wanted to say the mind. Think of the mind as observing you. So when you have said that, instead of eating sukuma wiki, kale, I want to eat masala fries, yeah? So you have those two options. This is a terrible example. Of course, we can eat all of them, and you can eat them both together, but this, just saying, in terms of choosing, at the point when you are choosing, you have a super healthy option, and you have a comfort food. So if every single day of your life, you decide that you're going to be eating the comfort food, to some extent, you were taught about balanced diets. So, well, I guess neither of them are balanced, but bear along with me. You were taught about what nutrition your body needs. And so if every single day this is what you're choosing the fries, because they're very tasty and they're great, what you're doing is that you're teaching your body, you're teaching your mind that even though we know what is better for us, we have decided to choose something that is not the best. So I think of myself as deserving less than the best. What starts happening? You attract things in your life that are less than the best. This is really, really, really this is true. This is how things are working. Because you teach yourself. You are, I keep saying, you're the creator. You're the co-creator of what's happening in your life. So there's God, but there's you. And these things that you are attracting into your life are based on what you believe about yourself. And it's not just what you tell yourself. It's not just this conversation and you say that I believe that I am wonderful and great and amazing. And yet what you do to yourself is teaching the different parts of you that actually even though we say this, what we do shows a different truth. And what you do is what your system is going to go with. So if you're always choosing the fries, if you're always having, not always, but if you're having this relationship that is substandard to you, your system gets to learn that we don't deserve the best. We don't believe that we deserve the best. And unfortunately, even the guy will probably at some level know it. And what happens with that, can be unfair to him, because now you're wasting his time. You're doing what the married men do to women is what you're doing to this guy. Because instead of freeing him to spend his time with someone who believes that he is her, yeah, a girl who believes that he is the best for her, you are keeping him. You're keeping him in some state. And actually, if we forget him for a minute, what's happening to him, you are dragging yourself down. Because if this is what you thought your level is, and this is the level you are at, your reality is going to conform to what your actions show. And then this then becomes the level at which you attract. And all of this to say, this is based on your own feeling and inclinations. Yeah, so I'm not saying in terms of what it should be. It is you. It is you. Everyone would have their own different sets of standards and expectations and beliefs. We can't all be the same person. But to the extent that you are doing something that you yourself believe to be less than what you deserve, there you go. Okay, eating at your confidence is what this is doing, dating the married man. Because you now have experienced attention and, all these nice things that he's giving you that you haven't been getting from your real dating experiences, then that is when you start believing that you don't deserve it in the real world. Either you think that it's not available or that you don't deserve it. And in either case, it's coming back to your self-view, your self-perception, what you believe of yourself, how tall you stand. Excuse me. How tall you stand, because what is going on in your mind and in your body is what you're able to experience. Your mind cannot, there's a word for this. You cannot have an experience that you do not believe in. I say this in Date Like Cleopatra. If you do not believe in Santa Claus, he shall never come to give you gifts because you do not believe in him. And I'm not saying you should or you shouldn't, but this is just explaining the experience. If you do not believe that there are good men out there, you shall not experience a good man. If you believe that the only good men are married, then you put yourself in a category where you believe that you must always date married men. The mind is a super powerful computer. It's a super powerful machine. And it works for you based on what you're giving it. And the reason you're giving it some of these things is because of your life experience. It could be that when you were younger, you were told, not it could be, it often is. These things all stem from childhood, really, to a larger extent. The reason that you might not have a higher view of your self-worth could be something as simple as in primary school being told that or by your parents when you were younger. The idea of primary school came with that you weren't passing your tests. You weren't the top of your class when you have school ranking. Then the teacher specifically told you, you're terrible. You're not worth the seat that you're sitting on in class. That can be so painful to a child, because this is destroying your feeling of self-worth. You came to school thinking that you're the ish, but then now you've been told because you do not have the top first, you're not number one in class, you're not worth the seat that you're sitting on. That chips at your self-confidence. That chips at your ability to love yourself, unfortunately. And that could be what is showing up now at the point of dating. So it's important. The other exercise that I'll have for you is to go to a quiet space and think back. think back to the voice that told you that you are not worthy. Where did you learn it? Where did you hear it? Just sitting quietly and asking yourself, it will often come up, because this now is thinking back to your childhood. When was the first time someone told you that you're not worthy? Was it in class? Was it your parent? Was it your sibling? Was it a relative? Was it a neighbor? Who is it who told you that? Identify it. And from then, comfort that younger version of you, that inner child, that younger version of you who was told that. Conjure up an image of her in your mind and comfort her. Tell her that wasn't true. Show her what you've done with your life. And tell her that you are worth it. You managed to coordinate your clothes. You have a job. Whatever it is, things that you like about yourself. Have that conversation with her and say, look, we're doing great. And this helps heal that old wound. And when you heal that old wound, these things stop becoming true for you. It's changing that belief system that had been set up way back then. They stop becoming true for you. And then now you can start showing up for yourself. When you have the choice of these two meals, you might choose the healthier option. Why? Because you believe in your self-worth. And I'm not saying that we shall always eat healthy. Of course, we can always have the mix. But it is what, more often than not, what are you choosing to do for yourself? Yeah? And so those are the next points. Oh, they're not. Here we are. Teacher, your confidence saps your feminine energy, even though it is not a sexual or intimate relationship. So these are the effects of dating the married men. What this looks like is what he is gaining from you. Why is the married man hanging out with you? And so what I've pointed out there, even though it is not an intimate relationship, it is this, you as a woman have, how to put it, a creative force. This is why you can create life within you. You have a creative force, you have a healing force, you just have this energy that runs through you that men absolutely crave. They do not have it. This is the feminine energy. Well, I shouldn't say that. Everyone has masculine and feminine energy, but the women have a natural access to it. Let me put it that way. So for a man to be with you and to access this joyous, beautiful, serene, golden, wonderful energy from you is nutrition to him. It is helping him become the best that he can be. So you think that you're just hanging out and having conversation, but there's something that you're giving him that is so powerful. And that is why he is coming to you. What are you getting? What are you getting? Unfortunately, it's the things that we were saying. You are giving away this beautiful, wonderful light. And what he's giving you is a drain. Because what you're gaining from him is this destruction of your self-confidence, this destruction of your ability to believe in yourself. So that exchange is unhealthy, unfair, but unhealthy for you. He is gaining, you are losing. So, question, how do you get out? How do you get out of this? You've been feeling so nice, and maybe, unfortunately, what happens sometimes is that you end up in this relationship for way too long. And something that I should also say, it could be that he helps you activate your feminine energy. In this giving you this feeling of safety and comfort and that you're special, he helps you transcend into a place where you have access to this joyous and wonderful part of yourself. The only thing is that he's taking it away. He's activating it in you and taking the energy away. Why don't you activate it for yourself? Why don't you activate it for yourself and use that energy in your life? Because when you get into that relationship, you're not satisfied. You're not satisfied unless you are okay with polygamous relationships. There's a whole lot of things. So I'm talking to the women who are feeling the drain. Whether or not you're feeling the drain, you're not satisfied. This is not what you want. You do not want to be the spare, waiting for the day he has time, then that's when he'll come to you. Even if he's giving you some kind of financial independence, you don't want to be shackled to him. You don't feel nice. That's actually the point. It doesn't feel good inside you. There's something about it that is going against your own value system. And you feel like you're cheating. You're cheating yourself. You're being unfair to his wife. And you're just turning up. It's eating at you because this is not what you want for yourself. It doesn't give you a future that is what you want, that is reasonable for you. So how do you get out? How do you break, now that your confidence, in fact, honestly, it can have been years. It can be 10 years. And as I said, even married women can be in relationships with married men. So it can be that you have been living this life for years and years, and now you're asking yourself, you're not happy. You feel, as I said, you feel icky. How do you get out? So, what do you want if you could have it? What is it about that relationship that is making you unhappy? If you could have everything that you ever wanted, what would it be in terms of a relationship? Write it down. Take pen to paper, write down, this is what I would want. Why? Because there's something about writing, and that's when we talk about journaling. There's just something about writing that takes it out of the realm of thoughts and ideas and crystallizes it. Because then you're seeing yourself stating, this is what I want. So you would want a relationship maybe with a man who is treating you that way, but is not married. Things like that. Step one. Then the next step is to value yourself. Valuing yourself. This is building on your self-love. And the exercise that we had, the one where you're going back in time to see where it is that you were devalued initially, is really a fundamental step into that. Because with that, it's teaching, it's affecting, it's going back to the root cause. And if you can heal the initial wound, which is that root cause that happened to you when you're young, then you can build on top of it. So I'm assuming I had a cut here. That's why I'm doing this. So if you had a cut here and you heal, so you've been living for 40 years or however long with the cut still raw. So when you heal this initial wound, it becomes more, you become more stable. Then when a married man is approaching you and telling you all these wonderful things about you, you know them. So it's not fantastic to be given all this attention by him, because more than that, you're asking yourself, why would I strain myself? Why would I be hanging out with you? You're not available. You're looking at it more from what is good for me than this small, not small, it's not small, but this initial covering up, this initial, not satisfaction is the wrong word, this initial pull that you're getting from these nice things. So you're able, because the wound has been healed, you don't need, what he had been giving you is like a balm to calm the wound. So when the wound is healed and he's giving you the balm, you don't need it. So you're immediately able to look at him in a different perspective, and you see him as someone who's out to waste your time. In fact, it becomes now madharau. I've never found an English translation for the word madharau that completely covers its essence, but it means madharau. It means like disrespectful. You feel disrespected by a married man who has looked at you and said that he thinks that he would want to spend time with you. You feel disrespected because why? You have looked at me and decided that I need to be waiting on the sidelines for you to feel like hanging out with me. No, I am worth much more than that. I value myself. I am not ready to be on the sidelines. I would rather be alone than be with someone who thinks so lowly of me that he wants me to be waiting for him. Ick. Yes. So how do you value yourself? I just have a couple of points here. One is do things for you. We are walking. We are walking, we are doing exercises. Walking makes me feel good. Walking makes me feel good. Well, what makes you feel good from an exercise perspective? What movements? Like I like to dance. Dance. Dancing makes me feel good. Do things for you. Do things that make you feel good. Feel good in your body. These things are the things that activate your feminine energy. Because when you start feeling good in yourself, then you don't need someone else to be the source of that light switch that you're flicking on. You don't need someone else to switch that light on for you. You can switch it on for yourself because it is your own internal light. Then from there, you value yourself, because then you start thinking it's not so much that this guy wants to spend money on me. So what? Are you on sale? Is there a price tag on you? And in fact, let me go to the next one. Value your time. An easy way of doing this is set a dollar value to an hour. It doesn't matter what it is, and it is up to you. You sit down, ask your body what feels good for you. Just sit down again calmly in a quiet place and ask what dollar value, a dollar, shilling, euro, whatever, what monetary value would you want to assign to 1 hour of your time? I tell you, this has made such a difference in my life. Once I started, it doesn't matter what figure you take. The figure you take is the one that is true for you. Once I started doing that, let me tell you, even at work, I was showing up differently. because the value I gave to myself is much, much more than what I earn at work. Then now I started looking at meetings, and then I told myself, if this meeting is worth this amount to me, am I ready to invest my time in it? Because a lot of these things, we have a lot of time wasting meetings. But then because now I was actually walking more with my chest out, because I value my time. So even hanging out with people, what am I getting from that interaction? And it could be that it's soothing for my soul. And that is a very important thing. But then I need to understand, then I'm not just going with the wind. The wind has blown to that direction, let's go. No, my time is important to me. I value it. And because now it was, putting the dollar value for me was something that you can see. Then I started saying, no, I want to spend my time making your videos. I want to grow my podcast. For me, that is important. It makes me feel good. Why? Because it's this conversation we're having. I wish someone had told me this when I was younger. And so here I am sharing this information, which I trust is useful for you. Yeah? So that, valuing your time, actually, honestly, take it. For me, it has changed my life. Because then, as I said, I don't do things without thinking. Even watching TV, I am much more conscious about how I'm spending my time because of that value. Okay. Do things like nice soaps. I learned this from a friend of mine. We had gone on a trip and we went shopping, and she went really buying these soaps. Initially, I didn't think much about it because I was thinking it's a waste of time and money. But then because I was there, I decided, let me give it a try as well. Whew, the difference it makes when you're in the shower. And you just have this, especially the scents that you like. Figure out what it is that you like as a scent and get a soap like that. Like one of the one of the ones I have now smells like bubble gum, which is super strange because I don't chew gum. I'm not a fan. But there's just something whimsical about the smell. So even the shower room just smells really nice. So I hang around there, then I take a shower, and I just feel, and it lathers nicely, so I just feel special. I feel luxurious from doing that. Small things like that. Alter ego. Create an alter ego. Always. That's a fun one. So an alter ego is, in the book Date Like Cleopatra, I mentioned Cleopatra herself. And I'll do another video. There's someone who asked me why Cleopatra. I'll do another video on that. But in this example, Cleopatra she's a goddess, for crying out loud. within the within the Egyptian traditions, that is what she was. So highly elevated. She is this woman who was washing herself with milk and honey for her skin to glow. I mean, we can learn so much from this woman. It's apparently not called the Cleopatra bath. Ha. We can learn so much from her. So it can be Beyonce. Beyonce is a good one. And she had an alter ego, Sasha Fierce. So when she started out, she thought that because she had started out singing in church, she thought that this move to this secular music was too much. So she embodied herself and gave herself a name. She became Sasha Fierce, who could do those things because Beyonce could sing in church. Do that for yourself. Create, be Wonder Woman is another one I like. I've always liked Wonder Woman. I just find her so cool. This notion of, what are they called? The Amazon women. And by the way, for you, my African listeners, they're based out of women of Benin. Benin, now I don't have the details off the top of my head. There's the movie starring Viola Davis called The Woman King. It is about those women. They were a women of warriors. I mean, they were warrior women who protected their king. So I don't think it is too far. If you do not look like what's her name? I really like that actress, the lady who acts as Wonder Woman, Gado. Gal Gadot, is it? Anyway, I really like her. I think she's super cool. But if she doesn't appeal to you or you cannot connect with her, think of African women, and that is be Wonder Woman. Be whoever you want to be. And when I say be, I mean you can step into their shoes when you're in a particular situation. If you need to give like a presentation at work, you can be, well, Margaret Thatcher comes to mind. But in terms of being bold, you could be the queen. You could be that woman in your neighborhood who you think is amazing. You could be anybody. You could be anyone you see on TV. Olivia Pope is another one who I really like. I love her confidence in the way she walks. Yeah, and at whatever point in your life you can step into any of these people. And what I mean by stepping into them, what I do, I give you the Olivia Pope example. Like, I like the way she walks. A little too fast, but there's just something about her that's super. I think she brings out her feminine energy as well, in terms of she can be vulnerable, she can be strong, she can be whatever. So especially every once in a while when I'm walking, I pretend that I am her. Yes, so I pretend that I am her. Don't worry, there's no one who knows what's going on in your head. Pretending that I am her makes me then walk up more tall. Makes me feel that I am allowed to occupy the space that I'm occupying. It gives me that strength of character. And I like it. And I like it. You're absolutely free to do this, because why not? If it makes you feel better, why not? All right? Girlfriends, it is super important to have girlfriends. It is, if you're, like when I was younger, I used to find it, I used to feel that it is easier for me to engage with men than it was for me to engage with women. In time, I've come to look at it and ask myself what happened. Again, same exercise, going back to the past. I don't remember if I did that on this. I must have, but going back to the past and trying to understand where did this stem from. But understanding that women can give you such strength. We are told that women are bad to each other, women backstab each other, that being in a relationship with women is difficult. Try it. And unfortunately, yes, a lot of people will say that they have been in relationships with women that have turned out difficult. Do the same exercise. Here I go. I'll give you homework. Write down what it is that you would like from your girlfriends. If an ideal situation, if you could have the best girlfriends that you'd ever wanted, and they don't have to be 1,000. It's, I like this conversation between Michelle Obama and Oprah Winfrey, because Michelle has, I don't know if she calls it her round table or dinner table of 12 women. And Oprah Winfrey is like, what? Who has 12 friends? The last person who had 12 friends was Jesus Christ, and we all saw how that worked out. I find that funny. But it can be even one or two. You don't need to have 1,000 friends. But ask yourself, what is it that you would want to have? If you had the ideal relationship with a girlfriend, what is it that you'd want to pull out of it? And the reason it's important to have relationships with girls, with women, is because of the feminine energy. These things that these married men are trying to pull out of women, we can pull out of each other. And the beauty of it is that when you have, when it's women to women, it helps build. It helps build this feminine energy within you. We said that when it's this kind of married man to the woman, it is draining it from you. When it is a relationship, when it is your man and yourself, you're actually both building you're both building each other up. Women to women, again, builds it up. Why? Because it is this thing. So what is feminine energy? It is this, I did explain it. It is this wonderful force. It is this wonderful energy that is available to boost women. How you're able to connect with your spirituality, your divinity, with God, with yourself, with your soul, with the very essence of who you are. This feminine energy really, really brings it all together. Helps you live a life that is speaking to you. So instead of trudging through this world, you're saying, capitalism, patriarchy, all these things are there to make things terrible. When you have a connection to this wonderful energy within yourself, you experience happiness, calmness. Things are beautiful. Things are wonderful. It's a gift. It's a gift from God. And being able to access it is amazing. Having women around you helps you learn, first of all, from their experiences, and helps you access, so long as they're the kind of women who you want. Again, you need to be able to see, because you need to, if you connect with you and you understand what it is that you desire, you will then attract, again, write it down, you shall see it because it's in writing. You'll be able to be on the lookout for these women. So when you say you attract it, it is because you have said that this is what I want. And from there, you're on the lookout for those kind of women. And it is upon you to take the step to make it happen. I laugh because it's a friend of mine who told me this once. She was saying that there's so many women complaining about how they cannot make women friends, especially as adults. How do you make a friend? And she says it is your responsibility. It's not like being coy while dating and saying, I hope she calls me. Take the step. That's actually what Michelle does. She talks about it in a book, in one of her books. I can't remember if it's Becoming Michelle or The Light We Carry. I'm not sure which book it is. But she says, I think it's The Light We Carry. She says she takes the step. When she was the first lady, can you imagine? She's the first lady making friends with a woman at the salon. You and me, I am very conscious with myself as I say this as well. It cannot be that, life is too hard. There are no women. No. Take the step. Find these women. I have a friend actually that I met on, what's it called? I've forgotten. The dating app that starts with a B. I've forgotten the name, but it has a section for finding friends, women friends. So you don't need to use the dating app. You can use that section and find friends in your neighborhood. So it's like a dating app. So it's a swiping game that you're playing, and based on that, because you know the characteristics that you're looking for, you can find a friend there. I know someone who did that as well. A lady who had moved. She's American. She had moved to a totally different state, and initially had been very concerned about how will she find friends. So that's the same thing she did, if I'm not wrong. She used that app and found someone who scared her to the extent that is exactly the kind of person that she wanted as a friend. And then she interviewed her. It was a real story, yeah? It was a real thing. So she interviewed her, then she found everything, as in they were so similar, which was what she wanted, that it was spooky. Once you have clarity of mind of exactly what you want, you can get it. The problem is having this hazy feeling, CG, I'm not sure, I don't know. Decide, then you can get it. and it builds you. It's the other thing that it does is that it gives you, having the girlfriends, it gives you, or even friends generally. I have a bias for girlfriends because of that, the feminine energy. But having friends generally, it gives you these things that this married man was giving you. Then you have attention from those people. You don't need. When he tells you again that you're amazing, he wants to take you out for dinner, you're like, you'd be taking time away from your wife. Why don't you take your wife for dinner? Where do you see this thing taking us? In fact, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine just yesterday. She inspired this video today. And she was saying that nowadays when a married man approaches her, because unfortunately it happens all the time, especially for single women. When a married guy approaches her, she asks him if he would be comfortable with his wife doing the same thing that he is doing. In terms of, if he's asking her out for dinner, she asks, are you comfortable with your wife going out for dinner with a man? And it's always, of course, no, of course not. And that's the point. Keep me out of your relationship. Take your wife for dinner. If you're not okay with her doing it, why are you doing it? And more to the point, with me, where do I come in into all this? No. And it happens, unfortunately, also with men who got married, people you've known for a long time. So men who got married, well, you knew them. So they were your friends, they got married. Then after that, because you're single, they think that you're fair game. Our time is valuable. Again, yeah? Our time is valuable, we have things to do. No. Don't waste my time because you now think that your relationship is not going well. That has nothing to do with me. You made your bed, lie in it. Good. Now, those are the points I had for us today. I hope you've enjoyed this session. I'm proud of myself. I was able to keep walking. We'll do a few more of these. I appreciate your time as always. You guys are amazing. And please do the exercises. They do help. Thank you, gorgeous. Love you.